So since we're talking about future of work, so there's no reason to stress too much. And let's use ChatGPT.
Of course.
No, my $20 can always.
Any small thing, ChatGPT. It's not like I even do my job safe. You're just wasting your $20. Yes, now. I mean, it's fast. It can analyze data faster than maybe some human beings. But it doesn't know why that data even matters. ChatGPT cannot distinguish between the human angle. You know, there's this human side to data.
They play.
I don't understand. You mean ChatGPT can take my job?
Yes, nah.
No.
Let me ask ChatGPT for you.
Yeah, no.
What do you say you do again?
Data analysis.
Okay.
Be fast now.
Calm me down now.
No, be fast.
Oh yeah, come and see. Come and see. Wait, you.
You see? I told you now. I mean, look at AI is not yet able to provide context to data the way a person would. Because it lacks some of the human abilities such as common sense, creativity, and empathy. Common sense. See yourself.
Do one.
See yourself.
Zero.
Guys, before we go, I have an important announcement to make. Starting next week, we will not be doing hybrid anymore, hybrid work.
Fully remote.
Allow me to talk first now. Calm down.
Okay.
It's not fully remote. We'll be coming to the office every day, 9 to 5. Monday to Friday. Yes. Let me talk. Yeah. It's very important. It's for me. It's very important that with this event coming, I beg, we need to be productive. You guys are not productive.
Exactly.
Remote work is like watching Ashake's Lonely at the Top performance. You're watching it on TikTok or YouTube, and you're getting the vibe. But imagine you were there at the concert. Goosebumps, like the energy you're getting from the people around you. You're not fully there with remote work. You're not.
Right. So, feel free to be as expressive as you can. Take as much time as you want to answer any of the questions because, and then if you have questions, note them down. We'll take questions once you're done. So let's get started. So you started seeking it out right after you left school.
Correct.
What was the motivation? Had you built some products, maybe a few websites here and there before you left school?
So I studied computer science, and my final year, in the final year, there was a course called Website Design and Data Security. So that was the very first time I had any interaction with like HTML and all of that. So they gave us intro to HTML, CSS, and PHP. I really liked it. Like I enjoyed, that was one course that I totally enjoyed. I went to the library, I got a book, like a physical book on HTML and another one on PHP. The HTML one, I read it from cover to cover, practicing all the different examples and tutorials. I was practicing them. Same thing with the PHP one. I didn't finish the book, but I got really interested. So when it was time to do my final year project, I begged my lecturer to allow me to do something that had to do with web development. He had some data mining thing he wanted me to do. I was able to convince him to allow me build a tool. So at the time, the topic I was given was development of an online library management system. So like a library management system for the university. So that was what I finally built. So it was a good opportunity to actually bring something to life, from idea to design to develop and to host it as well. So that was my very first introduction into like web development as a student. Immediately after school, I just continued. I started designing websites for friends, for family, some for free, some for like 20K, 25K. I started designing like logos, letterheads, like branding. I think I was charging like full package, 50K. You have your website, you have your logo. What?
What year was this?
This was like 2010.
50K was still some money.
Yes. But it really wasn't about the money. Like, I was staying in my mother's house. There was breakfast, there was lunch, there was dinner. So I knew that at least I would eat. So it wasn't really about the money, but I just knew, okay, let me charge something. And that's really how the journey started for me. Right? So around the time when I went for NYSC, I was teaching. And then within that period, I came to Lagos for an event. I met these guys. The name of the company is Unotech Media. They were the best of the best when it came to website design in Nigeria. So I met with them. I'm a twin. The guys are twins as well. So that was like a connection. So I reached out. I used to be very, very shy. But I just summoned courage to actually go for the event. I think that was like my first tech event. Go for this, what's called Bar Camp. I think it was in Unilag or something. So I went there, introduced myself to him, told him, like one of them, like, I'm a very big fan of your work. I would really like the opportunity to intern with you and everything. He gave me his card, and I went back to, I was serving in Ogun State, went back to Ogun State, summoned courage again to reach out to him. And then he said, okay, after our service, I should come over to their office. So what I did was, I printed out my designs, like different websites I had done. I went to the cyber cafe, went to go and print them out on A4 paper, took them to his office. He looked at them, liked the designs. So he was like, okay, he likes what he sees. But I knew that I was far from, comparing what I was doing with what they were doing, I knew I was very far. But he didn't make it seem that way. So he gave me the opportunity to intern with them for about 6 months. It was like that, okay, I will learn and then I will work, right? I think they were paying me about maybe 30K or something at the time. I enjoyed working there. Like, I just wanted to be in their presence. Like, they never sat me down to say, okay, this is how to design a website and everything, but just being in their presence, watching them work, they started giving me responsibility. And that's pretty much how my design skills sort of 10x'd just because I was serving at that company. So, there's a lot more story, but let me just stop here for now.
Okay. So, I'm curious, at what point did you decide that you wanted to go out on your own? You interned with them, so at what point did you decide you wanted to go on your own?
I've always been entrepreneurial. I think it sort of runs in the family. My mom has like 4, 5, she cannot be idle. She's always doing something. She has a supermarket. While she had the supermarket, she was doing catering. She was like, I think I got that from her. I remember far back, while I was still in secondary school, I used to sell noodles to my siblings. Instead of you going out to go and look for noodles to buy, I bought carton at home. So I was selling it retail to them, making money. So I've always been entrepreneurial. So while I worked at Unotech Media, it was really stressful for me because I was living at Ikotun. The place was on the island. So it was really stressful, and I was earning maybe like 30K and stuff. So it didn't make much sense for me. And at the time, I was already also doing remember I'd already been designing websites for friends. And so I just felt like, if I decide to focus on this website design thing, I'll probably make more than what I'm currently earning, especially with the skills that I now have. So what I did was, I already had a portfolio, people that had paid me to design their websites, but after I worked at Unotech Media, I was ashamed at my portfolio. So what I did was, I went and redesigned all of those websites for free. I didn't even tell the clients. They would probably just refresh their websites one day and just saw that it was looking much better. I did it for me. I wanted my portfolio to be better. So that's what I did. But at the time, I wasn't still making as much money because I just started freelancing. So I got a part-time job at a church, the Fountain of Life Church in Ilupeju. I was working there about 2 or 3 times a week. So I was designing websites. They had like multiple ministries. I was designing websites for the different ministries. And at the same time, I was learning something called search engine optimization, because I knew that was how Unitech Media was getting out of their business. So I also learned search engine optimization. So I was able to get my website to rank on Google, and I kept monitoring it. I knew that it had to be on the very first page of Google. So when that happened, I started getting more projects. Then it got to a point where I just started, as my side hustle, it was starting to make sense. So I then quit my job at the church and decided to focus on CK Digital full-time.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about haircut. Like I said earlier, it was a brilliant idea, in my opinion, that solved a very, very important problem, at least for guys, because while I was coming here, I don't know why this stuff flashed through my head. Very few decisions you make are as important as the barber you choose. That
Right.
is the reason why you have a receding hairline in your 23.
Right.
So, I'm speaking from personal experience here. So you built it and you shut it down very, very quickly. I think in 3 months or so.
No, it was like about 1 year, 1.5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So why did you decide to shut it down?
Okay, so a bit of story, because some people may not know what haircut is.
Yeah.
So I went to the barber shop. So forget what you're saying. Before the pandemic, I used to cut my hair every single week, low cuts, like very, very, maybe like this brother's hair, like low cuts every single week, every Sunday or Saturday at most, cut my hair. Because I used to go for meetings. I mean, at the time, there was nothing like tech bro hairstyle. You had to look like a business person. So one day, so I had a specific like time frame that I tried to be very organized. I had a particular time frame that I used to go to the barber shop. So this day I went there and there was a queue. I think there were like 5 people that were supposed to still cut their hair. You know how it is now. Even if there are like 5 barbers there, your barber is your barber, right? So I didn't have a choice but to wait. So I just went back to the car, went to sit down, and it was just frustrating. I don't know what happened that day. I was just annoyed. Like, this is a waste of my time. So I just figured, okay, what's a potential? At that time, I was 100% focused on CK Digital, the website design business, but I was interested in building product because agency has its issues. They are hustling for project after project and all of that. So I wanted to build like a software that could also be bringing in money, but I didn't have a particular idea that I was thinking about. So that day, I just thought about it like, okay, what's a potential solution to this problem where people like me that hate being delayed, that like to have control over their time, can know that if I go to the barber shop, I will not be delayed. So I just figured, okay, appointment booking, right? It just makes sense. Choose the date and time that you want to come. And I figured out, okay, why would the barber take it seriously? I was like, okay, if you think your time is worth more than others, you should be willing to pay extra, right, for like that VIP treatment. So I said, okay, that's what I'm going to build. A way for people to book time ahead, pay a bit of like a priority booking fee, and the barber gets that, and because of that extra payment, they keep that slot for you. It sounded like the perfect idea. I was like, no, I'm going to change the world with this idea. Like, we're going to eradicate delays in businesses. So I built it. It was a software I called it Reservo, like Reservo. Beautiful software. There was a whole process. I wrote a whole article on the process it took to build Reservo. And typical rookie mistake, I was just focused on the solution. I didn't think about the different stakeholders that would actually make it work. So after we launched, I then started speaking to barbers and realized that they don't care about customer experience and let customer, like they even feel good when they see multiple people sitting there like, as in like I'm hot cake. I went to some of the, like, there's this popular barber shop in Ikeja. I'm not going to mention names. Like, I went there. I saw people fanning themselves like this. Like, the place was hot, crowded. I reached out to the man like, hey, there's a solution and everything. He was like, I see. He has been in this business for many years. He's not willing to experiment. He's okay with the way things are. And that he had tried appointment booking in the past, but it doesn't work in Nigeria. That's what he said. He said that some customers will book, let's say 1 p.m., come by 2 p.m., and be angry that they are still being delayed, right? So but I thought about it like, there are still many people like me that want to solve this problem. So I said, okay, you know, what can I do? Let me start a barber shop. Let me start a barber shop. This is how I was thinking, like, there has to be a solution to this problem. So I went around, I saw a very small space, ridiculously small space, too small for a barber shop. That's where the power of branding came in. I was like, okay, it's too small, so we'll call it a private barber shop. One customer, because I didn't want a big space because I couldn't afford it. It didn't make sense. It was just an experiment, right? So this small space, so we called it Haircut, H-A-I-R-C-O-T, private barber shop. The slogan was, no noise, no delay, no crowd, no noise. That was the promise. You book an appointment through the Reservo app, and we guarantee that you will not be delayed. So we worked out the entire operations in terms of customers being reminded of their appointments, the barber being reminded, ensure that the place is neat and tidy. We had an iPad where if you don't know the hairstyle you want, you can just swipe through, you know, instead of those posters that you see with Ludacris and all of that. So we had like the iPad where you swipe. Because it was private, you could choose the music you wanted to listen to when you were at the barber shop. It was beautifully executed. And it was okay. We were making money. We were making some money. But Nigeria happened. The people we built Beezop for, like our ideal customers, were like tech bros. People that they have money, right? And they have this pride, like, I need to look fresh and everything. And then about 60% of our customers left Nigeria. Little by little, they were just leaving. The other people were not really, we could serve other people, but imagine trying to use appointment booking solution for people that are not really tech savvy. They will say, okay, I prefer to call, or they are not time conscious and all of that. So we just started seeing the revenue just dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. So we said, okay, you know what? Good idea, good execution, but timing is not great. Yeah. So that's why we decided to shut it down. I still think it's a beautiful idea. We have people that have traveled to like the UK, the US, and saying that, hey, it would be nice if Haircut was here. Or I'm like, that's fine, right? So maybe some other time, right? Or maybe someone might hear this and think it's a good idea to do. But I also learned something that brick and mortar is not for me. With a digital product, I can be here, you can be in the US, and you can use my product. But with a brick and mortar business, I had to start doing advertising within that particular location. It wasn't making sense, and it was difficult to scale.
All right. So I think that ties in nicely into my next question. I think I said it a few days ago, where you're talking about doing market research, building a product without doing market research, and then building one where like did a lot of research and all of that. It's also a mistake or something a lot of people do. So you see a problem or you have a problem and you think, I have a solution to this, and you just go ahead, put your head in the sand for the next 1 month or 2 months, you build the product, and then you do a splashy announcement on TechPoint or wherever, and you sit back and you wait for customers to come, but maybe 1 week later, nothing has happened. And several startup founders do that. And then they are like, what happened? How do you think a founder, a business person now, should balance, I have a great product, and I need to know if anybody can or will pay for this product. How can someone balance that out?
Yeah. So like from the very first product I built, I made that mistake, right? Like just focused on the problem, and not really thinking about who is going to pay for it, and things about like the business side of things, because I was like a technology-focused person. If I'm going to do a startup today, it's going to be in reverse. If I can even get someone to pay me first before I start working on something, then I know that at least I've dealt with the validation of are people willing to pay for this. Because what usually happens is founders do some research, right? Okay. And they talk to some customers, but when you ask someone, would you pay for this? A lot of them will say yes. Ah, beautiful, I will pay for it. But because talk is cheap, they're not spending any money by talking, right? But the moment you now say, okay, are you willing to make a deposit, even if it's 10% deposit, that's when you now start hearing the objections. If you add this, if you add that, if you could do this, if you could do that, right? So if you are able to solve that problem before you actually start building, like look for one person that has this problem, and it's painful enough that they are willing to pay you something. Like, most people just want the problem solved. They don't care if they are the only ones you are solving that problem for. But if you now have to, that exercise of looking for the person that has that problem, speaking with them to understand the problem that they have, right? And understanding how they are currently solving the problem. Are they paying for a solution already? If they are paying for a solution, good. If they're not paying for a solution, it's a problem, right? Because if they already have a budget, right, that says, okay, every month we spend 20,000 naira on this. You are just trying to say, okay, that 20,000 naira spending here, you send it to me, right? Or I will even charge you 30,000 naira because my solution is much better. Versus they are currently not spending on that problem. So you need to now justify
why they should spend
money that they've allocated to food, or that they've allocated to rent or to salaries, to now spend on this solution. So it's a much higher hurdle to cross. So those are some things. Like that whole process of you trying to understand the problem, communicate what the potential solution is, sell that hypothetical solution to them to the point where they are actually willing to pay you something if you're able to get that work, will help you build a better product. Okay. Right? So that's kind of like how I would look at it today.
Okay. So customer research is very, very, very important. And knowing the right questions to ask and who to ask those questions are very, very key. What are your tips for someone who wants to do some research on a particular product? Okay, so it starts with the problem always, right? It might be that, so it's easier said than done, but the typical approach is solution in search of a problem. I already know the solution in my mind. Let me look for people that have the problem. Okay. Whereas the ideal approach is problem in search of a solution, where you immerse yourself in the problem. You have full understanding of the problem. If someone wakes you up in the morning, you can explain what the problem is, and then you now start working on a solution, right? That's the ideal approach. So if you're using that ideal approach, you want to understand what is the problem, or what's the, like some might say, I'm trying to look for an example. Let's say you are building a project management software, right? Some might say, hey, projects are being delayed. That's the biggest problem that I'm having, right? But if you now start asking deeper and deeper and deeper, it might be that the real problem is that someone doesn't know how to delegate tasks, right? Or they have people that are not skilled enough to even do the job. So if you look at it right from time and say, I want to build a project management software, you might build the project management software and you're not actually solving the underlying problem. So understanding what that problem is, understanding what they've done to solve that problem in the past. Like I said earlier, are they paying to solve that particular problem? What's the real impact of the problem? If you are trying to build in Africa, or let's say Nigeria, if your product is not helping people make money, it's not helping people significantly save money,
it will be difficult to sell.
Okay.
So, of course, if you're not targeting the Nigerian audience, maybe you have a leeway in terms of like productivity solutions and stuff like that. But if you're trying to sell to the average business person, you need to be able to tie to the bottom line one way or the other. So those are like deep things that you really need to think about. You need to understand, because by the time you want to sell this solution, you need to be able to say how the solution is going to help them make money, how it's going to help them save money. So those are some things that I would think about when doing that sort of research, in that customer research process.
Okay, so let's talk about money for a bit. We often have startups that they go splash a lot on marketing, acquire a lot of users, and you find out that their services are practically free, or they are charging ridiculously low for those services. And then maybe after a year or two, the money they raise is out, and they now know they actually have to make some money through these guys, and then they realize that their customers are either not willing or even able to pay for the solutions that they were providing. How soon should founders start asking for money? And second question would be, how do you even price your product accurately?
Okay. I am of the opinion and school of thought that you need to start charging from day one, or at least settle your monetization from day one. So whether it is like, 30-day trial, or you have a conversation with a company that is a big company, you say, I'm going to give you 90 days trial, right? But they need to already know how much it costs,
okay,
right? Or it might be, some people might go the route of something called freemium, where there's a free version and then you pay to upgrade. I don't like that version at all, because I know many tools that I'm using today that have paid version, but I will never upgrade. I will never upgrade. And these are products that I use every day, but they've given me too much already in the free version. But if they did not give me enough, I would have gone to a different product. Do you get? So I think that particular pricing model is very risky.
Okay.
It works if there's a very large market, very, very large market, where you know that, okay, because on average, it's about like a 3% conversion rate from globally, from free to paid.
Okay.
So if it's 3% and 8% is like you are doing an amazing job. So if the maximum that you will do is 8%, how many customers will you get? It means out of 100 people that you spent money to acquire, 92 people will never pay you. And you will still keep supporting them. And those people that don't pay you are usually the loudest. Do you get? Because they will demand support. Many of them feel entitled. There's just something about people paying for a solution, right? There's a whole mindset, right? So I'm of the opinion strong opinion, like I can fight with someone over it, that charge from day one. Like, it's very difficult. Founders don't want to come to the truth that their products are worthless, or that their products are not valuable enough to be paid for. So they hide it under, it's our strategy. Give us 1 year. After we get X number of users, we'll start charging for it. But the truth is, even with some of the things I've worked on, like Beezop, like when we launched, immediately we launched Beezop. Within the first week, it's a B2B solution, we had about 600 people that signed up to try the product. I don't think there's one person that paid for Beezop within that 1 week period, right? This was even with a product that it was not free, but just had like a 30-day trial period. So strong recommendation is charge. Now, how do you price? It's a bit of an art. Like, I don't think there are some people that have like it all worked out like mathematically and all of that. There are different ways to price. You might do it market-based. What are your competitors charging, right? And you might decide to charge a little lower, or you want to seem better or charge a little higher, right? There's something called value-based pricing. Based on the value that customers are getting from your product, you charge. So if it's let's say open banking solution, maybe you charge, or maybe an API-based product, the more they consume or they use your API, the more they pay. That's like usage-based pricing, right? There's cost plus, where you say, okay, how much am I spending to offer this service? Then I add to it, right? Yeah. Value-based pricing is usually the recommended approach, even though it's not, I mean, even for like software, you might not be able to say this is exactly how much value someone is getting, but you're able to say, in some cases you can say we're helping you make X amount, so we're charging this. There's a rule of thumb, I don't use that, but it says that at least 10%. So if you are helping someone make $1,000, you can charge $100, right? So there are different approaches, but at the end of the day, you want it to be based on someone is getting value from your product, and the amount they are paying you seems like it makes sense for the value that they are getting. And sometimes, most times, it's just look at what the competition is providing, right? It might help you even charge more than you were looking to charge before, or it might give you an idea of what the market is currently paying for that solution. It becomes just tricky if you are now doing something innovative that nobody has done it before. You are trying to change the world, so you now have to figure out how to price it. Okay, let's talk user feedback. So, like you mentioned, most users are very loud. They have an opinion about everything. How should a founder or a business person manage user feedback? When do I know what to discard? When do I know what to pay attention to? And how do I ensure that the user feedback I'm getting doesn't have me calling my developer at 3 a.m. to have him change a button or something like that? Okay, makes sense. So the way I take user feedback is, I mean, these users, and the way I prefer it, customers, hopefully they are paying you, right? They are the lifeblood of the business, right? If you had defined it's called like ICP, your ideal customer profile, up front, and these people that are paying you are your ideal customers, then you need to take their feedback very seriously, because you are in business to solve a problem for these people, right? If they make a request, it's your job to get it done, as long as it's in line with why they are paying you, right? And most times, we don't know the problem as much as the end users, right? So the more customer obsessed we are, the better. You can't go wrong being too, well, maybe you can, but it's very hard that you are very customer focused. Like you provide exceptional support. Like I doubt that will be the reason why anybody will go out of business, right? So take user feedback as seriously as possible. Sometimes someone might ask for something that is far from what you are looking to provide. There are ways to communicate that, hey, this is not currently on our roadmap, right? Sometimes you can even make it open. There are tools where public tool, people can see feature requests, they can add their own feature requests, they can upvote on feature requests that they have that somebody else has posted. That same solution will keep them up to date as those features are being built and all of that. So I just feel like take feedback as seriously as possible. Just know when the feedback is not in line with the actual goal of the product, and still help them. So someone asks for something that your product does not provide, can you give them pointers to another solution to that particular problem? But as customer obsessed as possible, yeah. All right. Let's talk about Beezop or question wave. Okay, let's do question wave first. So it's not what a lot of people are aware of, but why did you build question wave? So I'm like an ideas person. Like I just have ideas. I have like a whole list in my notebook of different ideas. I'm an introvert. Okay. When I go for events, so I'm an introvert and I like to be organized. So if I come for this event now and they say Q&A session, and no, initially when they say, does anyone have questions? Most times, nobody will raise their hands. When one person finally raises his or her hands, you now see other people raising their hands. You find situations where someone asks a question, because this other person had raised his hand before and doesn't want to look like he doesn't have anything to contribute, will now ask the same question that another person had asked before, right? Or you have situations where the planners of the events don't even know how to plan towards questions. They don't know which questions are the ones that most people have, right? So you might find yourself in a situation where you don't ask a particular question for the sake of time, but that was a question that a lot of people would have gotten value from. So we're just thinking about like what's a potential solution to this problem that came up with that gave me the idea for Question Wave. Okay. So what we built was just a simple tool where before an event, the event host can just send you a link. Just go on that link, type your question. If the question you want to ask is already there, just upvote it. You don't need to sign up. You don't need to do anything like zero registration. We try to make it as seamless as possible, right? So that's basically Question Wave, and that's why it was built.
What has the reception been like since you launched? So, when did you launch it?
2021.
Okay.
When I launched it, so I need to give credit to my wife. My wife did the back-end work. Interestingly, my wife just quit her job in marketing and communications. She wanted to get back in, because she studied computer science in the university, but right after school she was doing like marketing, social media, marketing and communications and all of that. So she was frustrated about her work and she wanted to now come back to tech. So she made the very tough decision to quit her job. Decided to start, she spent like a whole year taking courses on software engineering. So when I had this idea, I was not like that. See, I mean, we agreed that to apply for roles, they will ask for experience, right? So can we just work on this together, right? And she built it, so I did like the design and product management, which is my own stuff. And then she did she's full stack, so she did both front-end, back-end engineering. And then we launched it. Posted it on Twitter. A lot of people liked it. People knew me as the product guy. They were like, this guy has come again. He has built another product. But then we now launched it on Product Hunt. Okay. And it became the #2 product of the day, which is a big deal, right? So we had users from all over the world trying it out, not signing up because it didn't require sign up. Yeah. But we started seeing, even till today, lots of people still use it. We sometimes when we look at the back end, we see languages that we don't even understand. Different people from different parts of the world using it for like their events, for their conferences, some religious, some adult content. Like they're just people, because it's anonymous, people could just go in there, they can ask any question without fear of judgment, right? So it's been really interesting.
Okay, so why did you choose to, you're not monetized?
Not yet.
Okay, is there a plan for that?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so pro tip, marry a developer if you are looking for a technical founder or a technical co-founder. So I think we are gradually coming to the end. I think we can take one more question. Trying to think of the most important question here. Yeah, marketing. How soon should I be thinking of marketing my product?
If you follow my advice, you already be doing some form of marketing before you even build the product, right? But this is more like, of course, if it's B2B, it's a lot easier. You just you don't even need to do ads. You just reach out to your potential customers and strike up a conversation. If it's like B2C, then you may start doing some form of marketing beforehand. I feel like you don't want to launch to an empty audience. You always want to have people that are already in a relationship with you by the time you are launching, right? Okay. So that might be that you're already providing them with content. That might be that you already have you've built a community around the problem that you're looking to solve, so that by the time the product is ready, you can just launch it to that community. So the earlier the better, right? It just makes your work a lot easier. Okay.
So thank you so much, Charles. I believe a few of us have questions. I'm trying to create a question with, I already have one, but I want to create something that you can just scan you can just do something and then just, let's see. But if you have questions, you can start, I don't know, who has questions? Let's start with one person. There's one online. Oh, okay, let me check. Anyone here who has questions? You can't tell me you don't have questions. Yes, please.
All right. Thank you for conversation you handled. It's very inspiring. I'm quite convinced that a lot of people here have heard a thing or two from it. Now, based on the last thing you mentioned, you talked about having a community, already created for product launch. So are you talking about email lists and things of that nature, or what is it in a nutshell?
The more active and engaging, the better, right? Even when it comes to like surveys, I don't like surveys, those impersonal surveys where you just send out a form and ask people to fill it out and all of that. I mean, in some cases you may not be able to avoid that, but I prefer, let me hear your voice. Let me, if possible, read your body language, really understand what you're saying and what you're not saying, right? So thinking about it in that line, the more engaging it is, the better. So it might be as simple as a WhatsApp group or a Telegram group. It might be an email list if you are actually going to be communicating. But the thing about an email list is an audience, it's not community. Community is you communicating and the community, the people communicating with themselves as well. So it's not just you talking to them or them talking to you. You can learn from what they are saying to one another, right? So as engaging as it can be, whatever that means for the nature of your business.
Okay, yes.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I guess you are talking about digital product.
Yes.
Okay, because if say for example you want to build a tool that enables e-commerce, there's no way you can reach out to people, bring them to WhatsApp or that to kind of have audience, or you have to do the regular advert and all.
Okay. So the way some people do it is they don't come out like a product. So if I want to serve e-commerce businesses and I want to build a community around it, like the community might be an Instagram page, right? Sharing tips for e-commerce businesses where you just feel like this is the trusted authority. Like if you are dealing with maybe people that sell clothes and all the content that someone in that business would need, they can find it on your page, and you are seen as that page. If you are in the clothes business, e-commerce, you need to be following this page. They don't care whether you have a product. At that point, they just care about what's in it for them, which is the content and the quality content that they are getting. So by the time, so you can, once you have that, there are different ways to now, either directly on the Instagram page, you are asking questions, people are commenting to answer those questions, they are interacting with themselves as well. You might decide to feature this particular business today, feature this, like they already feel part of the community, right? You might decide to take it a bit further. Maybe you have a special resource for them that they need to provide their email addresses and phone numbers to. Do you get, like, you might say you are doing a webinar. Do you understand? Like different ways to just build that community, bring them together. By the time you now have a product to sell to them, it becomes a lot easier.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I have two questions. First is, so far, what would you say are the strongest factor in your career business growth? And the other one, I know you've said a lot about the products and everything, but you didn't mention the part of funding. So I don't know how you've been able to from the very first business you did to whatever product you have currently, and how you've been able to manage the funding. I know there will be some time that you had some painful, some really terrible time and everything like that. So how, just share some of those.
So remind me, what's the first question?
The first was about the strongest factor to your growth.
Okay, strongest factor would be curiosity and just wanting to solve problems. It's both a blessing and a curse, right? Blessing in the sense that I don't see problems most times. I just think about potential solutions to those problems, right? Curse in the sense that I can be so focused on the solution that I'm not thinking about other factors, which is, I've learned the very hard way, right? Second question regarding funding. So my very first business, the agency, was completely bootstrapped, right? And the business has been running for about 13 years now. and we've not raised, that 13 years ago, who was venture capital, right? If you cannot make money, you are broke, you get. So that was how, and even I've never raised money. It would be nice for me to say I didn't need to raise money, but I needed to raise money, I couldn't, at different points. So from the very first product I built, remember, I was naive, like I just felt like I was changing the world with this particular product. I created a pitch deck, was talking to investors, they were just looking at me like, what's this one doing? Like, there was no business, do you get, what's the market size, how much are you potentially going to make from this, all of that. I just wanted to solve the problem, right? With Beezop today, which is my company, we are 3 co-founders, and we basically use our money to fund the business, right? Which means that it has been very difficult, as you can imagine. Very, very difficult. Number of times I've considered getting a job this year. It's been very difficult because things have been a bit slower than we would want. Because when you have 100K in USD in your bank account, or you have 250K USD, see, there are some problems you will not have. Do you understand? Like, you can think, you can plan, right? But when you are bootstrapped, where if the product does not make money, or you cannot find your personal money to pump into the business, you cannot pay salaries, right? Or you cannot pay for your server, right? Then you know that there's a problem, right? But right now, we are bootstrapped. I don't think we're going to be bootstrapped forever. But what I've seen is, I'm also doing something very tough. I'm trying to do SaaS in Nigeria. I feel like if it was fintech, maybe, it's not easy, but maybe I would have raised money. Maybe I would have raised like $2 million and all of that. But fintech is still very, SaaS is still very, very early in Nigeria. So we're committed to, keep trying. We'll keep trying to build this thing. But our biggest focus right now is revenue, right? Because it makes it even easier to have those conversations with investors. When we launched, we started getting inbound requests from investors because we did a really nice video. If you check Beezop on Beezop HQ on Twitter, the pinned video that was the day we actually launched on Twitter. It sort of went viral. It got like 15,000 views within like 2-3 days, I think. We started getting inbound requests because investors are on FOMO, right? So people were talking about, would this be the next unicorn in Africa? So people were saying things like, some notable influencers, right? They just liked the product. They just went there, tried it out. Then we started getting inbound requests from investors. Remember, we were just minding our own business. Investors started reaching out to us that, hey, we'd like to discuss. Then when we now started having the conversations with them, they were now asking for traction. And we were not like that, wait. The video you saw was the video of us launching. What kind of traction are you asking for, right? But the game is the game, right? The more I understand the way the VC business runs, the more I understand why it's very difficult for companies to get funded. It's not a charity. A VC friend of mine said that you need to think about venture capital as a 90% interest rate loan every year. 90%. So you must, in your normal senses, you won't go to a bank and get a loan where you need to pay interest of 90% every year, right? And that's what the VCs are expecting. They're not expecting 10x their money from a pre-seed company. They're expecting at least 100x. 100x. So they are not expecting that every single company that they fund is going to provide 100x, but at least in that fund, they need to have companies that have the potential of generating that. So when I started understanding that this is why they did not give us money. This is why they did not give us money. Because it seemed like it's a lot easier, right? When you already have traction, but not just traction, you have momentum, where they can see that month 1 to month 2, this is the rate of growth. Like you can see the month-on-month growth, right? Or year-on-year growth. They can just do the maths to say 5 years down the line, give or take with this growth rate, this is where this business is going to be, right? Of course, there are many people that don't have those kind of figures and are raising money, right? As with anything in the world, who you know, who knows you helps, right? But if you are someone that is not in the community looking to speak with these investors and get money, you better have solid traction or figure out how you are going to build the business without, just assume they are not going to raise money. Assume that it's not an option. If it was not an option, how would you build the business? It's been very frustrating. But the game is the game. The game is the game.
All right, we have a question from someone online. How do you go about your buyer persona?
Buyer persona, so for the sake of those that don't know what the buyer persona is that fictional character that you give your potential customer or your users, right? Is to say, hey, this particular person, maybe we call her active Ada, right? You give that person a name and you describe that person. What's this person's income like? Age, gender, maybe level of education and all of that. Just to know, okay, this is my ideal customer, right? And you might have different personas for that ideal customer. So maybe if it's a B2B solution, we have this person that is the CFO, right? This person is the CTO. The different people that we are going to interact with. So you just build a sort of fictional character for the person. I don't do buyer personas, right? And I'm not saying you should not do buyer personas. Maybe I'm not smart enough yet to do buyer personas. Because I try to keep things simple. Do I know who my ideal customers are? Right? My ideal customer is, what industry, what company size, what level of revenue, if that data is available, right? What's the actual problem they are looking to solve? What is the solution in my product that is going to be the most attractive to them, right? Whether they, do you get, like, you define the ideal customer profile. That's what I use, ideal customer profile, not necessarily the personas. Right now, remember that, like, Beezop is a very, very small team, right? And we are still very, very lean. So we do a lot of things that are scrappy right now, that a company that is 2 times, 5 times our size will not get away with, right? It's called do things that don't scale, right? So right now we are doing a lot of things that don't scale to get us to the point where we are actually able to scale. So I would recommend buyer personas for those that want to do it. You can check like HubSpot. They have a lot of resources. I know about buyer personas, but we don't do that. We don't really focus on it right now. We just focus on, because it's B2B, like the ideal customer profile is what we focus on.
Okay. So I know on Twitter you said you were going to share some of the shares you've seen. So you've shared something that you believe helped you in your journey. So what are the top 3 challenges you faced in your journey?
One was finding a co-founder.
Okay.
So I'm a design and product person. When we wanted to build Beezop, I didn't build it myself. I got contractors to build our MVP for us. Right? I have a whole article on the entire process that we used for that. And quickly, quickly we realized that this business is not going to go far if we don't have, can I get water?
Sorry. Please, water, please.
Yeah. So we quickly realized that the business will not go far.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think I can manage now. The business will not go far if we don't have someone that is leading engineering, right? You know, when we're working with really good people, but a contractor is a contractor, right? They just want to get something done quickly based on what you tell them to do, right? They're not really thinking 3 years down the line, will this still make sense? We need to come and rework this same thing that we've done. And the people we were working with had their own full-time jobs. So this was like a side hustle for them. So we just knew that we needed to find a co-founder. So that whole process of looking for a co-founder was one of the biggest challenges that we had early in the days. I like sharing knowledge. I have a whole article on how we actually found our technical co-founder. So if people are interested, just if you search for Charles Dairo on Medium, you see it there. So that's one. Second challenge then until now is money. We are currently fully bootstrapped. We most likely will, be bootstrapped until our traction is strong enough for us to get to an investment conversation and is balanced, where it's not like you're doing me a favor, right? And I'm hoping that we also get to a point where it's an option if we want to take it or not, right? I've applied for accelerators. I've applied for funding in the past. It was a waste of time for me. So I'm sort of really thinking about it again if it's something that I want to do. Okay. Any other challenge? I can't think of any other major challenge. Like in the business, because I've been in business for 13 years, what I might not see as a challenge, some other person might see it as a very big challenge, because I've faced a lot of shege in the last 13 years. So I think I've grown a thick skin to some of these things.
Okay, can you just summarize how you got your co-founder? Because a lot of people have those issues. You may not be technical, or you don't want to sit behind a laptop all day coding. So can you just share a very summarized version of how you found one?
Yeah, sure. Long story short, I was just searching, right? So I did different things. I posted on Twitter. I'm very shameless. I posted on Twitter. I'm looking for a technical co-founder to join us, right? I posted on WhatsApp groups that were like founder communities. There's one YC one. There's another one. Like, I just posted that, hey, I'm looking for co-founder. Some people reached out, had conversations, and I could just tell that it wasn't really a good fit. Thank you. Yeah. But I just knew that, okay, I needed to find a co-founder. So one day, I was just browsing through one software company's website, and they have a team page. You know, some companies have a page where they show everybody in the team. And I usually have this bet with myself that on any team page, there must be a Nigerian there. So that day, I just checked, and there was actually a Nigerian on their team. I decided, okay, let me stalk this guy a bit. I checked him out on LinkedIn, checked him out on Twitter, checked him out on Instagram. On his LinkedIn, I saw that he was a full stack developer. He already had like 7 years of experience and all of that. I was like, okay, this is a good fit. So I just shot my shot. Like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. We're currently looking for a technical co-founder. He responded and stuff continued that way. But one thing that really helped was the fact that it was not an idea. It was something that he could go and try himself, right? So I feel like working with contractors helped us achieve that. So he already knew what the product was doing. He could already see that, oh wow, this is a really nice product, very strong potential. So that really helped. So once we had the conversation, I invited him to a conversation with my other co-founder. We actually met for the first time. We talked about like the goal of the business. Where do we see it going? What's the real problem that we are solving on the long term? And he keyed into what we're building and decided to continue working with us. Then, of course, we discussed equity, did co-founder agreements, and solidified the entire thing. So for anybody, don't be... Okay. Is now you are changing the chair. Thank you. Yeah, so anybody looking for a co-founder right now, be shameless about it. Talk to as many people as possible about the fact that you're looking for a co-founder. But you need to be able to show that if you're building a tech product, a lot of the work is going to be on the engineering side of things. So you need to be that co-founder that is a blessing to any technical co-founder. I can do design, I do product, Beezop's website. I'm the one that built it, right? As in, I know how to sell. I know how to do marketing. Like, I'm a dream come true for any. I mean, I feel like I'm just bragging, right? I feel like I'm a dream come true for any technical co-founder, right? Because technical co-founders may be able to build. Some of them may not be able to sell, right? Or they may not be willing to do marketing and stuff like that. So you need to be that person that whoever is your potential tech co-founder knows the value that you are bringing to the table. So it doesn't now become unbalanced where it's like this person is doing all the work. It needs to be clear that building the product is great, but if we don't have customers, it's a waste of time. I am the one that will bring the customers, right? Or look for these customers and close the deals. So it needs to be clear the value that you are adding. So even if you don't have those skills yet, you need to know that you are committed to becoming the best co-founder for a technical person. And if you are the technical person, you need to know that you need to value the other skills that the other person is bringing to the table, because building the product is just the beginning.
Okay, so we have a few questions from the online audience. One is, what's the best way to advertise a product? The user base is not niche.
I would say try to get it niched. Like, it's very difficult to build for everybody. So even if you are, like even Figma that a lot of people know, there are a lot of people that don't know what Figma is, right? So still build for a narrow audience. You might have a big dream, right? But start with a small audience. Beezop, one of the problems that we faced that I forgot to mention is Beezop started as a very, it's called horizontal product, right? You're not serving a particular industry or vertical. So it's kind of like, how do I say it? Let's say Google Docs, right? Like, would you say Google Docs is for a particular industry? No. Like, different types of people can use it. So that's kind of like this kind of solution that Beezop is. And it was a problem for a very long time, because who exactly are you selling to? What are you communicating on your landing page? That someone will get to that landing page and say, yes, this is for me. Because the moment people see your ad or they visit your landing page, the first question they're asking themselves is this for me? If it's for them, they continue. If it's not for them, they scroll or they close the page, right? So not having like an ideal customer profile at the beginning, not knowing exactly who needs our product the most was a very, very big challenge for us. So I would recommend that no matter how small the niche is, in fact, the smaller the better, right? If you can make it as small as possible and you can quickly get those customers and then start broadening it over time, that would be a much ideal approach.
Okay. So this person says, for a B2B app where businesses connect to produce an end product, but one of the businesses would need a database for their client, is it best to build an app for the B2C side clients? I don't know if you get that.
I don't understand.
Okay, maybe I should take it again and hopefully we can. For a B2B app where businesses connect to produce an end product, but one of the business would need a database for their client, is it best to build an app for the B2C side client?
Okay, it's not really clear, but whether you are building an app or not, if I just focus on should you build an app or not, it would depend on who is using the product and what's their most preferred way to solve that problem, right? If you are building something for Gen Z, or you get, like, it might be that it just makes sense to use an app in some ways. If you are building for businesses, it might make sense to just build a web-based version where right on their laptops they can use the product. So it depends on what you are building and where it's going to be or how it's going to be consumed.
Okay. So sorry, I'm focusing on the online audience. They can't have the experience you guys have.
Sure.
So last question, what customer experience issues did you face or do you face with your product?
Customer experience issues.
Yes.
As a software product, customers always have feature requests, right? Oh, we want the product to be able to do this. So that's maybe one way of answering the question. One very interesting one is I think it still happens sometimes. There's someone that signed up for Beezop. I called to follow up on the person to say, hey, why did you sign up? Oh, I was looking for an accounting solution and I saw it and I decided to sign up. I went back to our website. I went to go and check where did we write accounting solution, right? So it's interesting that sometimes users, customers, would already make up their mind what your product does. In their minds, they already know what your product does. When they now come and sign up and it doesn't do what they expect it to do, they are then confused or angry, saying that it's a useless. Do you get? So situations like that. So we really needed to start thinking of our messaging, like what exactly is on our website. So if you go to our website right now, at the top, it says process and workflow automation software first, before we now go into other things, right? But even still till today, some people will sign up and say they're looking for a project management solution. Some people will say they're looking for CRM. So we just try to just direct them to other tools that they might find helpful. So that's one. But other than that, it's just standard support requests, help us fix this, help us build this, and all of that. And I'm always happy to receive stuff like that because it means people are even using your product.
All right, we will take one more question, just one question. So,
you see why you needed to use question wave?
Exactly. You've asked one question before. Yes. No, person behind you. He's new, so.
Thank you very much. So you mentioned earlier about how curiosity is okay. You mentioned earlier how curiosity is a question and a cost to you, and I kind of relate to that. So one thing I want to ask you is when you get curious, when you see problems around and have solutions and you write them in your notes, right? At what point do you decide, okay, this is what I should execute, this is what I should leave back, should I keep this one? And you need to wait for it 2 days and see whether it's still a problem then. What really guides you on deciding which problem you solve at the time? Even though you have a solution to all problems.
Yeah. So there's one mantra that says there is a gap in the market, but is there a market in the gap? Right? So the most important thing for me right now is how do I make money? Right? If it's not clear how I'm going to make money, it reduces in the level of priority I will give that idea. Right? So that's like the number one thing. I've passed the stage where I want to be innovative. I don't want to be innovative. I want to make money. Right? So that's like the number one thing. It has to be clear. If I know I'm going to make money, other things, because I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, I now start asking myself, who is going to use this solution? Where do I find them? How easy is it to find them? Right? If I'm building a software and I know I can make money from it, but I don't know how I can quickly find the customers, right? So for instance, if I'm going to start a new startup today, I don't think I will, but if I want to, I will build for a very structured industry. For instance, one I've been toying with is the hotel industry. Why? Because if I'm looking for hotels, I know where to find them. There are associations, communities of hotel managers. There are schools that offer hotel management courses that I can use as influencers to reach my target audience, right? Like, it's so easy to find these people, right? And I can build multiple solutions for this same industry, right? So those are some things I would think about. How do I make money? Where do I find these people? How much are they willing to spend on a potential solution? Like I said earlier, if I have a groundbreaking idea and I do the research and I realize that customers are not already paying a competitor, it's a red flag for me. Before, I was like, blue ocean. right? But now, if you are not paying a competitor, it's a red flag. Because it means that you've not valued that problem enough to be worth paying for. There's something Shege will teach you.
All right, thank you so much, Charles. I
My
think
pleasure.
that someone should tweet that or X that, whatever it's called these days. But yeah, thank you so much for
My pleasure.
sharing with us. This was a very, 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 very insightful. I know my copy editor says I shouldn't use very, but this was a really insightful session. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. All right. So, okay, let me have my mic.
Can I go now?
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Yeah,
Okay. So if you want to ask questions, look for him on Twitter, on Medium, stalk him online and send him questions. So we're going to be going into our pitch, the pitches now. We have 4 people pitching. So if you called me and asked me how much time you have, I told you 15 minutes. I'm sorry, you now have 10 minutes because we have about an hour and 12 minutes to go. So you have 10 minutes. If you find me hurrying you, that's because things out of my control are responsible for that. So the first person is one work, or the first startup is one work. So Dairo will be pitching a very interesting solution. So let's go. Right, so you'll be using this. Right.
Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Taiwo Adedokun, CEO at One Work. I'm here to introduce to you One Work. It's basically a digital marketplace for professional services. Now, what problem are we particularly solving? Now, Africa faces a generational problem of how to employ our population. Now, about 1 billion people in the continent, and half of that population is youthful. But I can also tell you that most of that youthful population is either unemployed or underemployed. Now, imagine a solution that basically allows professionals within that ecosystem to connect to small businesses and in their workspaces without leaving the continent. Now, we've been able to see that, according to the BOI data, there are about 50 million MSMEs, but we are particularly targeting medium and small. And for young professionals as well, in the legal profession alone, there are about 100,000 either unemployed or underemployed lawyers who do not have where to go. They are not even in an ecosystem that allows them to earn money. Now, we are basically creating a platform that allows these professionals to have a digital workspace to access not only business outsourcing, processing jobs, but also gig economy jobs. It also gives them an opportunity for them to earn ×3 of what they are earning currently without leaving their location, and also network a pool of professionals to also grow their business. We basically piloted with regulated services because that's the space we understand. We are looking to expand to other professional services as we go on. Now, in the digital marketplace, we have the virtual office, we have job boards, we have the business process outsourcing, and also a platform that allows professionals to connect with each other. We've currently been able to sign up about 476 professionals across Nigeria who have also set up their digital workspaces. We have about 160 customers who are businesses that quest for one-off services on the platform. We've currently partnered with MasterCard, the Bunker Economy, and Serene HMO. And one of the beautiful things about this ecosystem is that freelancers don't need to worry about their health. They do not need to worry about how to even access the credit economy, because the current freelancing platforms that is, of course, that will come to mind right now is Upwork, Fiverr. They do not have an ecosystem that allows freelancers to basically access credit economy and health insurance for themselves and their families. So these are the upcoming features whereby professionals on the platform that need a particular service can exchange service by barter, legal AI, and also to onboard other service verticals. These are our revenue model, primarily commission and transaction fees. We have others, but these are the major ones. And we believe that if 1.2 million businesses are able to connect to about 500,000 professionals, they would be able to connect with each other and give value, exchange value to one another. Currently, I'm using the legal space because, so as a background, I'm a lawyer, though we started with a legal product before, a tech product called My Law, but it was a bit, it was closed. That was why we pivoted to this marketplace. Now, currently, the legal processes outsourcing is currently being dominated by the Indians, and the African professionals are totally shut out of it. And that market is currently valued at $35 billion, which is basically being serviced by Indians. Right now, we are looking that even if Nigerian professionals are able to access about 3% of that market, they will be able to earn fees without leaving the continent. And we have 50 million MSMEs, so we are not even targeting that. We are looking at the small and medium enterprise. So according to CAC, if you are earning, or if you are already making a profit of about 10 million and above, you are a big or medium company, all right? So, and in the instance is also with this number of lawyers. Multiply that by other professions. Now, we intend to unlock supply and demand because, of course, it's a marketplace and there has to be a balance through professionals. For the professionals end of it, we are looking at communities and associations, social media, single player mode. Why unlocking demand is collaboration with aggregators of small SMEs, which we've done with MasterCard holders, the Bunker, which is a co-work space, and that we're also doing then direct sales and word of mouth. This is our team, and we are basically focused. We are a team of young people with great energy, and these are the founders. We have a combined 33 years of experience in business, and then we are seeking to raise this amount of money to be able to expand, to cover more professional services across Nigeria in particular, and also serve more businesses. Thank you.
Right. So, questions. How many of us? Yeah. 1, 2. Okay, so let's start with you.
Okay.
Thanks for the interesting product, actually. Because I think I can relate with what you're saying. Now, you talked about freelancers. What exactly do you mean by freelancers? That's number one. Number two, then you said something about 35 million. I didn't catch it.
Okay.
That you're trying to that have a big market or something like that, and they're not served and all that. So those are the two things I have on my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll start with the second question. I'm talking about the legal process outsourcing space. So typically, there's the legal process outsourcing market, and there's the general one, which is the business process outsourcing market. So I said that the legal process outsourcing market globally is valued at $35 billion. I mean, one-off, where businesses request for one-off agreements, one-off request, one-off document review of legal processes, and that market is currently being dominated by the Indians. And the African professionals are not benefiting from that ecosystem because there is no marketplace, as it were, a dominant one that they can come to request for their services. So it's basically to take advantage of our population to offer those services. Then the freelancers. So I said that, so freelancers are basically people that can work wherever they are without not physically being, they can offer their services irrespective of their location without not physically present at where the job is being requested for. So we are targeting professionals in this regard.
All right, hello. So I'm very intrigued by your presentation. What I want to know is, have you had any traction in the Nigerian market currently?
Yes, so our traction is only in the Nigerian market, and we have 160 businesses that are requesting for service, that have signed up to this product, and we have 476 professionals that have set up their virtual offices, and they're across Nigeria. So they are spread across the 4 geopolitical zones right now.
Okay, so currently you are being able to transact, that is, you get money from them,
yes.
Or it's still free?
No, it's not
All
free.
right, I would like to see you after.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, yeah, she actually asked a question. I want to ask, all these 160 they pay are paying, or do you have
yes.
free or 100% from the onboarding? Anyone that want to use your service must pay. You don't have free plans?
Okay, so we have some clients that are just signed up to the products. We're 8,500 of them, but these are businesses that have paid for a services of a lawyer to either draft, either do a particular service, register the business, requested for affidavit, a land search, a corporate search, a letter. So these are this is particularly the number of businesses. Yes, businesses.
Okay, so there are questions online, but please, can you go back to, go back to where we're talking about your finances? That's my own question.
Okay.
Yes, so $200 per business per month, what's that?
Okay, so this is the average fee for subscription. Yes, apart from that, businesses you typically pay more than this when they are requesting for a one-off service like a letter, or you need someone to draft a deed of assignment. But our subscription is so the list of our subscription is 80,000 and the IS is 350K. That's for people who want a year plan. But for this, this is what a business basically, one of those businesses basically spend on a monthly basis for the services on this platform.
Okay. I don't know. So you have a subscription?
Yes, we have a subscription plan.
And you have commissions, you have transaction fees?
Yes.
Why is the subscription not on the slide?
Well, because it's a marketplace and it's optional for businesses. So that's why, yeah.
So how much of your money do you make for subscriptions as opposed to these two?
So for the transaction fee, how much of the money do we make?
From subscriptions as opposed to these other two?
The subscriptions is definitely more, but this one is actually based on volumes. So the more volumes we have for this commission and transaction fees, that's when it will make sense because it's a marketplace. But for the subscription, we don't really push the subscription because it is primarily, so what are the services there? Documents, reviews, if you need business name registration, if you need a document, one-off stuffs, yeah, so.
All right, so there's a question online. Are there not different laws for different jurisdictions in the legal space? Is a Nigerian lawyer able to provide legal advice for the UK market, for example?
Of course, because they were the one that colonized us. So on the basis.
Okay, can a Nigerian lawyer provide services for a Kenyan business?
For a Kenyan business, so I will need to check, but typically we do cross-border transactions that a lawyer can easily step in. So even if he or she doesn't have the requisite knowledge, he's able to research and still provide those services remotely. Maybe for physical representation, you need to be registered or called to buy in that country. But remotely, the laws are typically similar, except there are specific provisions that basically separate countries. Yeah.
All right. Any other question?
So I just wanted to be clear. You said an average of 500,000 requests per month from 4 million SMEs. I don't get that part. What does request mean? And those 4 million SMEs, what are they exactly?
Okay, so this is basically projection for funding conversations. But currently, the traction we have is what I showed. All right. Yes. No. Yes, we're currently bootstrapping.
Okay. I think we can take one more question before we move on. Any other question? Going.
Size of our team, 9.
9.
Yes.
Okay, so she has taken the last question.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So since we're talking about future of work, so there's no reason to stress too much. And let's use ChatGPT.
Of course.
No, my $20 can always.
Any small thing, ChatGPT.
Yeah, my name is Tife, and we are building Commerce. Commerce is basically a social marketplace where brands, retailers, and influencers host live shopping events to sell their products to millennials and Gen Zs, and also very good sales experience, shopping experience, basically leveraging on AI. So I don't think it's working.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead. Try the other buttons. I don't know what to do. No, try the other.
Yeah, it's not working.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right, cool. So our target markets are, just as I mentioned earlier, they are brand owners, retailers, influencers, the millennials and Gen Zs. So the brand owners, they basically are, example, like I mentioned, like as it is here, ambitious fashion entrepreneurs. They just want to look for, or they are looking for platforms where they can easily engage with their customers and also increase their audiences. And for influencers, they are looking for ways to, to monetize their followership. And also for millennials and Gen Zs, I'm a millennial, so we are always looking for places to get affordable items, deals, and the rest of them like that. So the problem we saw was the fact that cart abandonment rate is 70%, right? And when it comes to trust, I can boldly say that I would say like half of us here, even more than half of us here, have been scammed online, either on social media or anywhere. So that's like a very big problem. And for brands as well, they're having issues with engagement. So imagine you're on Instagram as a shopper, and when you see a product that you like, what you see is send us a DM to get your price, right? So you can't do all of that for like thousands of people that are coming to your platform. So as a result of that, it helps, or it makes their sales really, really low. So it's only when you have time and okay, let me just message this person, and at the end of the day, let's see how it goes. Then for influencers as well, they lack an effective platform. Yeah, we have the likes of them, Instagram, TikTok. If you are not doing follow for follow, there's really no much platforms where they can make more money. So those are like the problems that we see here. And the solution is basically social commerce. So commerce is aiming to transform the shopping experience by providing an interactive experience that builds trust and enhances discoverability and maximizes engagement. So we want a situation where when you are on your traditional e-commerce, you have to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling until you find your product. So we are leveraging on AI to make those searches really short. So it is being done in such a way that you only get to see the products that you want based on your preferences. So you don't get to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So we use AI to leverage all of that to maximize the time, the little time you have to buy something, and also for the sellers to help them 10x their sales faster. So this is the product. We are building a mobile app. We are currently still building, and we are already approaching the beta stage of the development phase. So this is basically the page for the live shopping event. So say for example you are on TikTok Live or Instagram Live. As a seller, you have to showcase your product and all of that. Then at the end of the day, what they do is take a screenshot and send me a message on WhatsApp to complete the transaction. So in this kind of situation, you don't need to go anywhere. You just right there on the live stream. There is what's the name? There is a call to action to just click on buy now, and everything is all done. And for the shoppers, we are leveraging on escrow system, so we know that your money and everything is safe. So until you get your product, that's when the money is now transferred to the seller. So that way, it's a win-win situation. So now for market validation, right now it's really big. Live commerce is really big in China. And in 2021, Taobao made a sale of about $200 and something million, but overall in China they made about $3 billion. And in US it's still, really new. But despite the fact that it's really new, it's still really new. Last year they made a sale of $15 billion. So there's a really big market for it. So our market size is basically, we have about 334 million online shoppers in Africa. We are not focusing on all of those people. We are only focused on millennials and Gen Zs. That's 180 million shoppers within the ages of 18 and 35. And in that bracket, we just want to focus on 10% of them in the next 5 years. And our revenue model is just sales commission, multi-platform streaming, and ads. So for sales of commission, we are going to be charging the sellers 10% on every sales. Then for multi-platform streaming, the sellers get to sell on multiple platforms. So if as they are doing a live stream on our platform, they will automatically be doing it on Instagram, TikTok, and the rest of them like that. So we can easily channel the sales from those social media down to commerce. So our go-to-market strategy, we are going to be leveraging on community building, referral programs, network effects, social media marketing, and influencer marketing. And for competitors, we have Maka, we have Flick, we have ShopX, and we have Commerce, which is us, definitely. So what makes us different is the personalized shopping. And the fact that we are using AI, we are using an AI algorithm that makes shopping even faster and more personalized for users. Also, we are also positioned in such a way that other e-commerce storefronts like Bumper, Shopify, and all of that can easily integrate their storefronts on our marketplace. So that way, if you have a storefront in Bumper and you make sales in commerce, it will be linked together. So you don't have to keep switching from one app to the other. And also in terms of gamification, we have built a system in such a way that we keep the sales and the shoppers and the sellers very engaged in such a way that we make shopping fun for you, because millennials and Gen Zs, with the market that we are, or with the age that we are now, we are very much in an engaging environment. So we want things to always be engaging. So these are the team. I am a product designer with about 6 years of experience. We have a CTO with about 8 years of experience, and we have our CMO with 8 years of experience. All worked in the likes of them fintech, e-commerce, and all of that. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we'll be taking questions. How many of us have questions? Okay. One, interesting. All right, let's start with
All right, so this is an amazing product, but if I'm to understand it in layman reasoning, so what I'm going to say is you're just trying to solve the whole idea of what you see is what you get.
Yes.
But in your case, it is what you watch is what you get.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon. So please, in one sentence,
yes,
can you tell us what this product is all about? And secondly, if I think I understand it, it's social commerce. And one of those social platforms that are building social commerce, for instance, is WhatsApp and Instagram. Even though they are not in Nigeria yet, but when they come to Nigeria, do you think it's going to affect your business in one way or the other? And if it's going to affect it, kindly tell us how it's going to affect your business, either positively or negatively. Thank you.
Okay, so that's a very good question. So the first question, which is what commerce is in a sentence. So commerce, like I said at the beginning, is a marketplace where brands, retailers, and influencers, they sell their products directly to millennials and Gen Zs through live video and engaging sales experience. Then the second question, yes, the likes of them, Instagram and TikTok and all of that, they are potential competitors, right? And when they come, they don't have, these features and this problem we are solving. They're not solving it here now. And when they come, we are positioned in such a way that our business is very fluid. Even if they come here, we are still going to use their platform to engage in sales. And even we already have it in the roadmap where you can for those that don't want to come to commerce, right? They can still make their sales while they are in Instagram, which at the end of the day is still comes back to commerce. So that way we are building like some sort of like an ecosystem where all of these things, so no matter where you are, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're on anywhere, everything all comes back to commerce.
Okay. I think someone had
so you mentioned something about holding a product and make sure that people confirm before. So what sort of escrow systems do you integrate to, ensure
we built it ourselves.
Okay. So how does it work? I just want to get clarity of how the escrow system works.
Okay. So say for example you're a shopper, right, and I'm a seller, right? So you see a product that maybe selling online, or you saw the product through the product listing, right? And you make a purchase. We are going to let you know that the money is with us. It's the commerce, right? The seller will know that so-so person has made a purchase, right? The seller is going to see the amount right there. That okay, there's this money is there, but you can't have access to it because you haven't delivered the money to. We haven't delivered the product to you. Right, so once something is delivered and we confirm that it's delivered, we give some sort of a timeline. So we let you know you have so amount of time to check whatever product that you got, so you know if it's good or not. So if it's not good, then we see how we can do some disputes around, resolve the dispute around all of that.
But do you have an on-site system that monitors, that confirms that this thing is actually delivered to you?
We are partnering with logistic companies. So we work hand in hand with them. We work closely with each other.
Wait, let's take it one after the other. Okay.
So is there a video verification or something that will be done to ensure that this thing is actually delivered?
Yeah, so just like I mentioned, we are partnering with logistics. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
So one question from the online audience: since you act as an escrow, how do you handle logistics And what's your plan for when goods get missing in transit?
Okay, so I didn't get the first question.
Okay, since you act as an escrow service, how do you handle logistics?
Okay.
And what's your plan when goods get missing in transit?
Okay, so yeah, it's basically we are partnered with logistic company, right? And when things like that happen, so it's basically two scenarios. Either the damage or whatever happened before the delivery or at the end of the delivery, right? So it's just a matter of doing some sort of investigation on where it's really happened. So once we are able to like know where the whole thing happened, then definitely we'll know what to do. And also we are also partnering with an insurance company to at least put in place those kind of issues.
Okay, so one more question is, do you have a trial period?
Do you have
a trial period?
Yes, we are currently, no. Trial period, no. It's a marketplace, so.
All right, thank you very much. A wonderful idea. I think it's a great one for the African market. Something I want to ask is, there's a lot of trust deficit in this part of the world, and then we're talking about people getting products and then saying they did not get it. It's a good thing that you're working with a logistics company, but the question is, it's a third party, right?
Yes.
How are you sure they're going to be in your best interest?
First of all, logistics company is, the problem with logistics is, it hasn't like really been solved, right? We are still, there will still be like issues and all of that. Although at the end of the day, when it comes to things like that, we are trying to make sure that the logistic company that we are partnering with are reliable and are transparent enough to have, that very good relationship in such a way that we know when something is happening and all of that. So we don't just partner with, logistic companies that are not reputable or they are not reliable enough, because we know the most important thing about commerce is the last mile. So if the last mile is broken, there won't be any e-commerce. So we need to make sure that the people that we are partnering with are reliable enough to get those things done.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is going to chip in.
Okay.
I think it should be in your pipeline, but you have to logistics as well.
Yeah, of course.
Because that way you can be sure of the last mile.
Yes.
So they can be sure of we've got the product from the seller, and we can be sure 120% of giving you the product. So that way it reduces a lot of uncertainty and then a lot of conflicts and part of things that come up. You're talking litigations here, you're talking part of things.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that
Yes.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. First question. You said you charge 10% commission.
Yes.
10%?
Yes.
For products?
Yes. Our competitor actually charge 25%.
Okay, so if I'm selling shoes now and someone is buying the shoe, you're taking 10%.
No, the 10% is not coming from shopper. It's from seller.
Yes,
yeah.
But I'm pushing it to the buyers.
Yes. I see. The thing is this, right? Okay.
Is it? But that's a lot. In Nigeria, your competitors that are charging, are they Nigerians?
Yes. 25%.
Which company is that? Maka.
Yes.
10%.
No. Maka is charging 25%.
25%.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Anyway, that's
and even one. Our global competitor, our global competitor, they charge between 8 and 12%.
Anyway, even that 10 is the 10 is still a lot. But then, this is it. So there's this adage that says, "Now where person they shop." Now,
sorry, I can't hear anything.
There's this adage, where person eat is where person they shop. Now there they work or something like that. Okay, so social commerce these days is a case of bringing commerce to where people are socializing.
Yes.
Twitter is doing it, Facebook is doing it, even WhatsApp is doing it.
Yes.
But now you are taking people out of where they are socializing already. So what other things is commerce giving people, buyers now, coming to your platform aside buying?
So that's where it's not working anymore. That's where gamification comes in. The gamification elements come in. So what we are building, it's like you said, it's a social commerce. So there has to be some sort of fun when it comes to shopping and interaction when it comes to shopping. As an average Nigerian, if we are already living in, we're already like in the middle of an economic downturn, right? So we are always going to be looking for places to get something maybe cheaper or places to get deals and all of that, right? So there will be activities going on the platform that will bring about retention, which is the gamification. So imagine you make a purchase of something, maybe you make a purchase of something like 5,000, and you get to, on your next purchase, you get an amount of money off, things like that. Even on and also another something. Say for example, you are watching a live video of someone of a seller selling something. You can just be watching and you start seeing rains of coupons coming down. You click anyone that that you are lucky enough to get, use it to buy whatever you want to buy. So I just trying to make shopping really fun in such a way that you can just easily buy things and have fun doing all of those, and just making shopping and life easy, basically.
Yeah, thank you. A follow-up to the first question: is there a cap to the commission?
Yes, definitely.
All right, I think we can only take one question before we move on.
Okay, I had multiple questions. The first one is, are you live?
I can't hear you.
Are you live?
No, we are not live. So we are not live. We have I would say a mini MVP for sellers. It's on Play Store right now. So the idea around that is we want the seller to onboard, right? We are going to onboard the seller, get their product on the platform. So when we eventually, which we are already in a beta stage now, so when we eventually launch, shoppers and all of that won't come to an empty platform. So by that time, all those products will be there for people to shop.
All right. The second question is, I understand the use of escrow for products, but now you're dealing services as well. So say, for example, I'm an influencer, or, let me use an influencer as an example. I want to be paid for doing a job, right? You keep the money till when the job is delivered, right?
Okay. So for that, so we are currently building an MVP right now, right? And for the MVP, we are just focusing on, we just want to get a good validation of what we are doing. So once we do that validation, then that's when the influencer side of the app comes in. So at the beginning, which is the MVP, the influencer is our company, but definitely it's not going to be like that.
Okay. I think the last question is, have you validated the use of AI when you are using search?
Have you what?
Have you validated the use of AI? Because if I enter Jumia or Konga today, if I search Dairo, I will see Dairo, right? I wouldn't keep scrolling the marketplace and then I'll see different types of Dairos, right? I'll search Dairo. It will bring products from that seller, similar types of Dairo. So have you validated the use of AI in that aspect?
Yes.
How?
So it's basically, there is an algorithm that we have created, right? There's an algorithm that we have created in such a way that you don't need to search, actually. You don't need to search for you to get products that is actually tailored to you. So it's basically just how it's kind of like similar to how TikTok works. When you come on TikTok for the first time, you probably like just watch something for like a short video for a short period of time, then you scroll. TikTok throws a picture to you or video to you to see if you engage in it, like that. Then they learn how you do your stuff. Then from there, they now give you like actual videos that suit your. So we are building something similar. We are building a similar algorithm to that. But yes.
Okay, so I think you can take one more question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I want to be clear. Are you an escrow company?
No,
No, not
a social marketplace.
social market-based. Like,
Yes.
I don't get the concept of this thing.
Okay. Social e-commerce marketplace.
Okay, where the buyers can come on board,
Yes.
post their services.
Yes.
So how do you handle conflicts in that angle? When maybe I order for something and, because I've seen something like that, I've utilized the app, I forget the name, Middleman, and by the time I use that app, I have issue with the person I'm selling with. And there's no even customer service, nothing, we are just hungry. I still have my money there now. So how do you solve such conflicts?
So in that kind of situation, right? I would say customer experience is basically going to be one of our competitive advantage, right? So in situations of conflicts and all of that, we are not leaving you to sort yourself out, right? We are going to intervene and see and basically just know what really went wrong and try as much as possible to make sure both parties are okay with whatever conflicts or whatever it is.
All right, so I think that's the last question we can take.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So since we're talking about future of work, so there's no reason to stress too much, and let's use ChatGPT.
Of course.
No, my $20 can always.
Any small thing, ChatGPT. It's not like I even do my job safe. You're just wasting your $20. Yes, now. I mean, it's fast. It can analyze data faster than maybe some human beings. But it doesn't know why that data even matters. ChatGPT cannot distinguish between the human angle. You know, there's this human side to data.
They play.
I don't understand. You mean ChatGPT can take my job?
Yes, nah.
No.
Let me ask that.
At the same time, then we can't achieve that. So please, as much as it is, I know you have questions, you have some things you need clarification on, right? Try your best to make it a question that you can, like, summarize it in your head, and then you can ask the person who is speaking. We are going to have enough time after this to speak to each other and maybe just share more, but let's make sure that the people here who are pitching get the best value for their time. Thank you.
I need small chops.
Don't worry, it's coming. All right.
Yes, I can.
No, please don't.
I don't know if everybody can hear me at the back, because I know it's quite a big hall. Okay. My name is Malik. I'm the co-founder and CEO of CashCard. Another fintech, I know. It's going through your mind, you know. But we are solving a very interesting problem, and I think you will be the judge if it is interesting enough for you. Exactly. So CashCard is a debit card, just like every other regular debit card. So it's a debit card. Now, what the debit card can do is different. Now, there's a gap in the African market, is what I would call it. 25% of people have debit cards. 43% of people have bank accounts. I'm sure you've heard the second one before, banking penetration. Now, people do not have debit cards. There are many reasons why they don't have debit cards. You have to visit a bank, you have to wait for a card, various reasons, right? Now, CashCard was the child of our thoughts on how to solve the debit card penetration. CashCard is a debit card that you can link to your traditional bank account and use as your preferred payment method. Meaning that if your money is in GT, your money is in Keystone, your money is in Access. You look like you use Access. Your money is in Access, you can link you can link a cash card to your Access Bank account. And every single time that you spend with your cash card, you are spending the money in your Access Bank. That wasn't enough for us, because that only solves what the card can do. Now, how does this card reach users without you saying that you want to place an order, you want to wait 28 days? Cash card is self-activated. Now, the problem with debit card penetration, or rather the origin, is that every single time you order a debit card, somebody behind a desk, and I promise you, it is very true, somebody behind a desk will say, Boluwatife has ordered a card. He is ordering a card on this account. I'm going to link this card to this account for Boluwatife. Now, in the banking industry, seeing as there are many requests, right, 122 million banked in Nigeria only. People cannot map these cards fast enough. So when you go to the bank to get a card, you sit down, they bring up your account, they check if you have money inside, you put money inside, they give you the card starts to work. We've changed all that with technology. Cash card is self-linked. Okay. Cash card is self-activated, meaning that nobody in an office is going to make the card work before the card gets to you. What problem are we solving? Number one, you have to go to the bank to get a card. You have to wait multiple days for the card to get to you. Somebody behind a desk needs to link that card to your account. If you have GT Bank, you need a GT card. If you have Access Bank, you need an Access card. etc, etc. Cash card, today you can link it to your Access Bank. And you say, there's no more money in that account. I'm going to link it to my GT Bank. There's no more money in that account. Now, it is not compulsory you link it to all your accounts, because I know some people will be thinking, if I link it to the one that has all my savings, and somebody steals it. No, that's not how it works. It's not compulsory. Now, the second problem is that users have bank accounts without owning a functioning debit card. And this is up to 70 million Nigerians. But card penetration in Nigeria is 32%. 122 million people have accounts, meaning that the rest of the people do not have cards. The third problem we are solving is this issue of I must get a dollar card before I can shop online. It's not supposed to be so, because it exploits the customer to say that buy dollar before you can pay. What is the dollar rate? The dollar rate is, it keeps pushing the pressure on the dollar, right? Now, our cards are Naira cards that you can use for all foreign transactions. Yes. And the way we were able to achieve this, is through our settlement mechanism. How we help the customer to simply fund the card with Naira and actually help them process their transactions across all currencies. Now, okay, so a cash card today is readily available and can be activated in 2 minutes. What do I mean? Now, this is a cash card, right? Just like this. It's packaged like this. It's hanging on the shelf of ShopRite, Spar. Think about it. We are trying to partner with them. If you pick this card on your way home, you can activate it in under 2 minutes and instantly use it. And that has become your preferred mode of payment. Cash cards get to users via your preferred mode of shopping, meaning that it is available for online delivery, it is available virtually, and is available in stores, which are brick and mortar. Our use cases involves people that lack a debit card and want a debit card, people that travel and they want to simply say, look, send Naira to this account, I want to pay online. Send Naira to this account, I want to shop abroad. There's no need for me to create a dollar card, get a dollar card, worry about the dollar exchange rate, etc. And also corporate people that want to give their staffs the luxury of having cards that are controlled and funded by their organizations. We are live, and these are some of our product screenshots. I hope you people will download our app. And we also have, currently, to talk about traction, we average traction revenue of $120 per user annually. In our market sizing, yes, I said 78 million Nigerians do not have cards, blah, blah, blah. That can be our obtainable market. We cannot instantly capture 78 million people. What we have done here is to look at the eligible population and scale it down to an SAM of 2.5 million. We are aiming to capture 2.5 million users in the next 5 years. With our current proven traction revenue per user at $120, at 2.5 million users, we can generate $300 million per year. Now, people ask, is card not dying? People are paying with transfers. Most people do not have cards, or they found a way around cards. That is contrary, because card is growing, but the problem is that it is not readily available for most Africans and Nigerians. Here you can see that between 2020 and 2025, the number of completed commerce with cards is increasing from 12 billion to 41 billion. This is about 4x, meaning that more people will be paying online with cards. More people will be transacting with cards. The same thing with the numbers of percentage of people that own a debit card will grow from 2023 at 25% to 34%. This data was provided by the CBN or the McKinsey Global Payments Map Statistics. How do we make money? The card is for sale. Because we feel, or we know rather, that if you want a debit card, you should pay for it, unless you don't need it. What you need, you will pay. We charge a markup on every cash card that is sold. We also charge you when you use your card with your traditional bank account, like Access Bank. We charge a 1% funding fee on Naira cards that work abroad. And we also charge just 500 Naira compared to the price of getting a debit card. A dollar card. If anybody has gotten a dollar card here in Nigeria, you know it's about $5 on average on cheaper cash, Flutterwave, with 1% funding fees. How do we benchmark against the competitor? Because you say this is a debit card. How are you different from OPay? How are you different from PalmPay, etc. Right? The primary way that we try and differentiate is that people can use this card cross-platform, meaning that you are not stuck with one bank when you use cash card. Another way is that you can get these cards faster than you can get your default, your normal traditional bank cards. Now, where have we taken it to? We have processed transactions of over $200,000. This is 200 million Naira, depending on the exchange rate, right? We've made revenue, we are live, and we have partnered to get a banking license. We have partnered with MasterCard, InterSwitch, and we are live and generating revenue, as I said. What is the makeup of our team? I am an alumni of Y Combinator Startup School 2020. I am a two-time founder. I was running One City, which was a marketing agency involved with taxi top advertisements. And yes, I am a software engineer also. My CTO has been He has led teams in some of the most popular fintechs and companies, from 54G to PayPecker, and our head of product was ex-Sterling Bank, ex-Coca-Cola. Then our lead engineer was pushed from Access Bank. Access Bank. Today, we are raising $750,000. We have secured $150,000. We are trying to roll out 100,000 cards. We hope one of you would be part of this 100,000. We want to drive user acquisition, meaning that the recurring user, the MAU, to 50,000. And this will take our annual revenue to about $6 million. And also prepare for a seed round with that money. So please feel free to reach out. We are also hiring for multiple roles in associate product manager, interns, customer support, and we would love to hear from you. Either scan or visit the URL. Thank you very much.
Anything else? Emmanuel.
Okay, thank you very much, Malik. It's Malik, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doc of documents.
No. Just some thoughts. So I'm wondering why you have an app.
Yes, so, and that's a very good question, because I know it leads to the question of every fintech wants to bank the unbanked, but they launch an app, blah, blah, blah. Primarily, why we have an app is to validate demand, primarily, right? We built our app in under 3 weeks. It does not compromise the quality. We didn't compromise the quality. We just have very good engineers. We built our app in under 3 weeks to say, this is what this card can do. We are going to push out an app, push it out to a small number of users, see how they interact with it, see what problems it solves for them, then get the feedback from them. That is why we have an app.
So what came into my mind is the use of the app is just to link the card.
Yes, you can. Yes, primarily you can use that.
After I've done that, what else?
You need to manage your cash card, meaning that cashbacks that come to you benefit from your card.
Okay.
You know, if you want to, like I said, remove Access Bank and put GT Bank, you need to manage your app.
No problem. So I guess my major question is, with cards, there's this whole conversation around cards. I'm sure you're familiar with it. So, but I'm just going to ask one specific issue with it. How do you plan to handle chargebacks?
Yes. So, the rules are different in the Nigerian banking industry. But one thing we've noticed is that the chargeback problem that people have faced is from partnerships overseas. Today, if you pay with your Access Bank, you don't go back to them and tell them that that payment wasn't originated from you. Access Bank will tell you, where's your card? Is it with you? Did you tell somebody your PIN? You know, if this is possible to be filed under a claim with the NDIC, we would, and you know, that money is insured. If it is not, that is the end. So now, a lot of startups partner with foreign financial institutions that allow for people to process chargebacks. So we keep our partnerships local and we make them work. So that is how today we've not had any chargeback issue.
So, but you mentioned MasterCard as one of your partners.
Yeah, so the MasterCard is also local. So if you use our MasterCard today, we do not have, the only availability is to claim your money as stolen under what is allowable with the NDIC, Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation. If it is not, that is the end. Because the ecosystem in Nigeria does not allow for what is claimed like in countries like the United States, right? So that is how today we do not have a channel to say that. If somebody stole your card, then that's on you as it currently stands. That is how we are handling the Nigerian market.
Yeah, so the question is, you said people without bank accounts can use.
Yeah.
So how do they fund the card?
Yeah, so this card I showed you, if you
pick it up today and you activate it, you do not need your BVN. So that's something that somebody with a bank account would need. You need an NIN, right? That's something that every Nigerian with a phone number that is of age is required to have. So you can use an NIN as your KYC, your know your custom, KYC, if that's not too ambiguous. And that NIN, we put you in a tier 3 account, meaning that you cannot move 10, 50 million, right? If you want to move that amount, increase your documents for your KYC. So that is, if you have an NIN today, you can sign up, activate. Oh, okay, so immediately you activate the card, you get our account number as attached to the card. So the account number is visible on any other bank. So you activate the card, you get an account number. If you want to fund it, you can fund it via transfer, via POS, via deposits.
Sorry,
All right, so you have a great product, obviously, and with your constant reference to Access Bank, it seems...
Sorry, I didn't...
I said you have a great product, obviously, and I think with your constant reference to Access Bank, it seems they are the ones that made you launch this product. But the question I have is basically, so in Africa, the problem you're trying to solve is the middle class problem in Africa, basically, where people from poor, if you are poor, you are poor. So, and that's just the truth. In Africa, if you are poor, you are poor. The movement from poor to middle class is very difficult. But your product is going to likely solve that, where people have more access to financial liquidity and able to run stuff easily. So the question is, why is it that you're just focusing on Nigeria? Because this is an African problem. That's just the truth. And okay, it seems you are prepared for this. So, yes, you wrote African market size, but when you were discussing it, we were really talking about the Nigerian market and everything. So I just want to understand, what is your plan to scale this to Africa? Because I think if you can scale this successfully to Africa, this is a product that you can build different stacks on top of and create a massive solution for the African market. And maybe we can become the San Francisco of like that. But that's the truth. It's a very good product.
Yeah. We are not focused on Nigeria, we are starting in Nigeria. So just like, we launched an app, we currently have products in the pipeline for voice activation, meaning that you call a number, you enter the numbers on your keypad, the requirements on your keypad, and your card is activated. We are starting in Nigeria, but we are scaling to Africa. But we must get Nigeria right, because if you dominate Nigeria, the chances of dominating Africa is... Yeah, I think somebody answered it there. It's very predictable.
So just what I'm asking is that, based on the product of the product, which is good, right, and makes sense, the question is, are you seeing it from the perspective that you are solving the problem of liquidity, building bank for the unbanked? Are you looking at it that way, or just looking at it like, we are just solving the card issue? So is it a deeper problem that Africa is facing? Or is it just basically saying, oh, back of the bank, card for bank, basically, or the bank for the bank. I just want to understand.
Okay, yeah. So our approach primarily is to speak to our users to solve problems as we scale. So we know there's a credit problem in Africa, a liquidity problem, but currently we plan to solve that problem. But to solve that problem is to speak to users that have that problem, because people don't pay loans back, to say it, in simple words, in this part of the world. So I think as we scale, there are multiple plans, but we would review on a case-by-case basis, if that makes sense, and just try and speak to the user so that we can monetize the user. Yeah.
So you mentioned interesting problem you're trying to solve. I think at solving another problem, I think you've opened another gap, which is you mentioned that people can walk into somewhere like ShopRite and pick a card.
Yeah.
You're not thinking of security where people can start making fake cards and hack into people's cards and remove their money.
Yeah, so we tokenize our cards, to say that we simply, I mentioned that currently somebody has to sit behind a desk to do the job.
So we replace that with technology, meaning that we tokenize the cards. The process of linking that card, is industry-grade security as of today. So for people to make fake cards and, try and sell it in fake vendors also, I guess, it's possible, right? We've not experienced it. One of the ways that we can solve it is publicity and user awareness of approved vendors, right? So before you buy a cash card, you can visit our website and see. Today, as of today, you can visit our website and see, are these people selling cards that they got from this company? If they are not, if their name, address, and contact is not on our own website to confirm to you, then you know that it's a fake card. So currently, that is one of the measures that we've put in place.
One other thing is,
Okay.
I do see you mention digital, and I know there's great, but like, what are you guys doing different from what we do?
Ah.
Do exactly what you do.
You do exactly what we do?
They do what you
Oh, okay, yeah. So one of the things we are doing differently, there's a map of competition here. Oh, you don't need to name your competitors. But so what we did was, this is Cash Card. This is the average fintech, right? They fall under the same umbrella. This is the traditional bank, right? The things that we've listed here, right? If we want to list each competitor, it's quite.
I mean, Grip does exactly what you just mentioned.
Yeah, so Grip is a fintech, right? Yeah, so we benchmark them as a fintech, right? So if, I don't think I know of anybody that does a card in store. Does Grip do card in store?
We don't have that yet.
We do. I said we do. Do they do that? Does Grip do that?
If I go to the shop, I'll see your card now.
Yes. So does Grip do that? Okay. All right. So it was finding it difficult to admit. so yeah, Grip will not give you a card without having a bank account. They wouldn't do that. And I think you know them, so you know that. So that's why we have to group, because if we then put Grip, they'll put OPay, they'll put PalmPay, they'll put, there are lots of computers. And this is... Yeah. So, it's I think. Any other question?
Okay, so I have questions. There's a reason why people don't have cards here.
Yeah.
So we have 53 million BVNs. It may have changed since this morning, but we have about 53 million BVNs.
Yeah.
And we have about 35 million cards, give or take, debit cards. Is it 35 million? But basically, CBN has been on a mission to increase credit card penetration for the last 10, 15 years.
Okay.
And they are barely doing any serious, they're barely making any progress. I was looking through a bank's report recently, and I realized that they have less than 20% of their active customers with debit cards. And this is like the Fugas guys. So if I already have a bank account and yet I don't have a card, why do you think I will get a cash card?
Yeah, so that refers me to...
Sorry, let me ask my two questions. That's one part. Why should I get a cash card? Second is, what's your go-to-market strategy? How are you getting people? Because I need to know about you before I go to ShopRite to get you. So how are you getting to these people and making them aware of you, and then making them know that, you can just walk into ShopRite and then pick up your card?
Yeah, so why should you use a cash card was the first question.
Yeah, why should I get a cash card in the first place?
In the first place. Yeah, so a card is being sold as the primary means of payment, which means that it is one of the easiest means of payment. If you want to pay today, I know people in the industry are very focused on transfers, but there are many breakpoints. Your phone needs to be on. You need to have signal. The bank server needs to be up. The person that receives it needs to get the alert. I can go on and on. These are, I think, about 4 I mentioned. These are breakpoints. The card does not have that breakpoint. But the problem that Nigerians had with card from the beginning was that you took my money for 7 days. I got debited, it was declined, the transaction was declined, I got debited, and you took my money.
and I have to wait for 24 hours to 7 days. We try and accelerate the refund process to a more instant where we can do the claims in the back end and give you your money back on declined transactions that you have receipts for.
But that's for someone who already has a card. So the person in my head is a 50-year-old woman who doesn't have a bank account, or maybe has a bank account, but she barely uses it. Yeah. When she wants to do anything, she walks into the bank because banks still allow you to withdraw over the counter. Yeah. She walks into the bank, she withdraws money, and she uses the money until it's over. Then she does that again. So why should she get a card?
Okay, yeah, she should get a card. She should get a cash card because she should get a cash card because of proximity. Is the first thing. The card is closer to you. You can pick it up in the places where you prefer to shop, rather than go to a bank to pick up a card. And you can, if she wouldn't self-activate, then she can get somebody to activate it for her if she's not, either learned or I don't know, because of the age group that you mentioned. So that's one of the eases that cash card gives this woman, the proximity to the second reason why banking has failed, I won't say failed, is failing in Africa is the proximity to the bank. And that's why you've seen startups like OPay, PalmPay, basically explode after being funded. They are closer to the customer than the traditional bank. So we try and get as close to the customer as possible so that the customer can feel that this card is accessible and it's easy to use. So that's one of the reasons that, we say she get a cash card. I don't know if that answers your question.
Sort of. So the second question, second question is your go-to-market strategy.
Yeah, our go-to-market strategy is very direct. We want to be in the places that people prefer to buy their things. If you prefer to shop online, cash card is available for delivery. If you prefer to shop in person, cash card is available for you to pick it up and activate. We also partner with influencers. We take on ads. We do ads. We have plans for ads in order to be able to rapidly, secure user awareness over a large group of people. So those are some of our go-to-market strategy. Okay.
Thank you. Hello, Malik.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
A bit.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so I have a question around technology. I know you can't share a lot of details about what exactly you do or what providers you partner with, right? But this is a very interesting settlement system that you have mentioned. And my question is around, you mentioned a wallet service, if I'm correct. So the unique selling proposition is that you're going to be having cards that you can map to any bank account, right? And use that card to, you can debit your account directly from the card and make your payments easily, right? But also, while you are answering one question, you mentioned a wallet, like an account that you fund and that account is. So, and also you mentioned that your verification or compliance idea is to use NIN, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's a CBN regulation that requires a BVN to be mapped to every wallet. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I heard it already somewhere, right? So how does that work? Then that becomes a regulatory issue, right?
Okay, the regulatory issue.
It's a regulatory issue. So how do you then?
Okay, so a CBN requires a tier 2 or tier 1 to have BVN, right? A tier 3 is like an OPay account that you open with your phone number. Yeah, there's a limit on it, as I said, but you do not need a BVN for it. You can use your NI. So that's directly from the CBN. Yeah.
All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My question is around making international payment, because you mentioned something like that.
Yeah.
Right? So how long does it take me from when I purchase your card, activate it, and then start using it for international payment? And I also noticed that there is no typical, number, card number, expiry date, CVV on your card. Mm-hmm. So how does that work?
Yeah, so for our cards that work abroad, they are called Cash Card Global. If you pick them up today, also under 2 minutes, you can activate them and use them abroad. Yes, there are no PANs on the card, on the latest versions of the card. It is available in-app, right? So if you want to pay, once you buy the card and you activate it, inside the app, you would see your PAN, the CVV, then the expiry date. So this is available in-app. So you can easily copy it and put it. But we did not expose them on the cards because of the mode of distribution.
So if I buy the card today,
yeah,
and I follow through all the process of registration,
yeah,
I can use the card for international payment today.
Yes, for our cash card global. Well, I can offer you the local if you're interested and to test. It's just 2,000 naira. It's not free. It's not free. Yeah, definitely. We have for you. It's not free, but everybody here gets a 25% discount if you buy it today from my colleague, our head of product. The guy that worked in Coca-Cola, that's him. So yeah, you get a 25% discount. So we will not give it to you for 2K. We'll give it to you 1.5 if you are interested.
All right, so online audience, what exchange rate do you use? I'm assuming this is for your international transactions. Yeah. What exchange rate do you use? And the other one is, do you charge a commission on exchange rate transactions?
So the exchange rate is determined daily, by the CBN. So we are obliged to plug into that. Yes, there is a 1% funding fees for cards that work abroad, but we do not charge anything on the exchange rate coming from the CBN. So if the CBN is declaring 1,000 for $1, you will get your Naira exchanged at that rate. But a 1% fee comes to us for cards that work abroad.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm absolutely loving these questions.
Yeah, so I think when you were pitching, you said something around if you want to make payment with your access card.
Yeah.
From your access account and there's no money there, you can switch the bank to GT and all of that. Then when you were answering question, you were saying when you get the card, you will load the card. So it's kind of contradicting.
Yeah.
Then my second question is, there is when anyone let me use myself as an example. When I go to any store anywhere, I use bank transfer, right? So if I don't have money in my access bank, right, and I have money in my GTB, what stops me from just taking my GTB and just make a transfer, other than having to switch to cash card and all that, when transfer actually is very well operational?
Yeah, so your first question about contradictory is because you are discussing two use cases, right? For people that do not have a bank account are the people that will use cash card independently. For people that do have a bank account, they can integrate cash card as their preferred means of payment. So you can see how those are two different use cases. Then the second question about being in a store and wanting to pay and having to switch. So finance is premeditated, right? If you go into a store, you know where the money for the store, for what you want to buy is coming from, unless you want to rob them anyway. So if you go into a store and you want to buy something, right, then you would plan on how you want to pay. If you want to transfer, a lot of times, I know many of us have felt like my battery must not die. Some people will have that thought, like, let me check this battery. So that it's not like I enter, I reach the front of the counter and they're like, so yeah, network issue. So you will sort that out before the point of payment. Not at the point of payment, you'll now be finding which account has money.
Because there are some times where you feel there's money in one account.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
you are rich. He's a rich guy. Yeah. So for just like if you wanted to decorum, just like if you wanted to do a transfer and you go to the account that does not have money, you will switch to another one. So yeah, you can always do that with a cash card also if you want to pay with a card, Okay, the mic. Okay. Yeah.
If you had this solution from the beginning, would have been more comfortable with card. When you have a card, that's why most of us are not comfortable and transfers. When you have a card that is across formats and you grow up using it, transfers will be the second picture. Because transfer is stressful. I have to say this is something I want to solve actually before this presentation. And instead I want to transfer, I can have to use the network. I noticed that I have to start pressing my phone, I have to start what people need, and when I drop my card, the person has power, then she just does it, I just take my card and I'm putting it. So that majorly is solving foundational issues.
That's a good sign.
Okay, so can you make a question very brief?
Please, I'm interested in getting your card. I'm interested in getting your card. You're a good salesman. I need clarification.
Okay.
I use cheaper.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you call it? Payday.
Okay.
Especially for international payment. Now you see me for your card. I can get your card now. Next time I want to pay for my maybe AWS hosting.
Yeah.
I can get it now. I get home right now. I use it and make payments.
Yeah, for our Cash Card Global, yes.
At what rate? I'm interested in getting your card. I believe many people here are there, so I need clarity.
Okay, yeah, so we report spot rates every day. I can pull out my phone and just tell you the rate. So the rate is not determined by us, it's determined by the CBN. Yes, that's why I said I can pull out my phone and tell you the rate instantly on our platform.
Okay, I think you answered that question, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, so thank you so much. That's the last question we can take this evening. All right. Okay, so we've come to the end. Yeah, we've come to the end. Sorry, can you pay attention to me? Thank you. So Pitch Friday is sponsored by HIL, that's the Hague Institute for Innovation and Justice. And we have a few representatives, one who may not want to talk, but yes, you can, they are our sponsors. And basically, if you're building any solution that solves justice issues, you can reach out. So basically, what does justice mean? If you help people resolve conflicts, that's like a layman, am I correct? Yes, that's a layman's explanation of what justice is. So, Tobe would say, you may not know where the justice is, so talk to her first. She's standing at the back. Oh, Kelechi is also here, yes. Kelechi. So you can talk to her, she's in yellow. You can talk to her, and she can tell you whether what you're doing is justice or not. So with that, we've come to the end. By the way, next week, Saturday is the Modern Workplace Africa Conference. So it's basically where you're going to come, and we are talking about workplace issues here. It's not fintech, it's not prop tech, it's not any tech, anything. It's basically for everybody. If you have a job, if you're interested, earlier we were having a conversation about when should the founder quit their job, basically, or when should the founder stop being the CEO. We are going to be having a session on that subject. When should you, basically, how should you plan succession? You can call it succession planning here. And we're going to be having a session on that. We're also going to be having sessions on several other topics. So go to the Modern Workplace Africa, modernworkplaceafrica.com to get a ticket. There are free tickets, there are VIP tickets, and yeah, basically go get a ticket, and I'll see you on Saturday. And sorry, I will see you on Saturday. We will see you on Saturday. Yes, with that, we have come to the end. Thank you so much. Let's do this again next month. Bye. Oh, one more thing, please.
TechPoint Africa is pleased to announce the Modern Workplace Africa Conference, taking place on the 21st of October 2023 at the Landmark Center. The event will feature workshops, panels, masterclasses, exhibitions, and a job fair. Expect insightful discussions around the gig economy, HR, talent, and all things workplace. You don't want to miss this groundbreaking event. Click the link in the description below to save yourself a spot and get more information about this.